Is Ubisoft running out of ideas? Is this going to be the biggest flop of the Assassin's Creed franchise? Is this going to be the end of the Assassin's Creed series? My name is Dr. Drizzle, and in today's video we'll be talking about the upcoming Assassin's Creed video game, that is Assassin's Creed Shadows, which was previously known as Assassin's Creed Codename Red. So let's begin the video. So recently there have been a lot of controversies regarding Assassin's Creed Shadows, and the first thing that we will talk about is why were they delaying the game. They have did it multiple times. First the game was supposed to be released in November, then it was shifted towards February, and now last month they released another statement saying that the game will be coming on 20th of March 2025 according to the devs. The reason for that is because there are still some of the things that the game has to be worked on before the release, and I feel like that is a very wise and great decision. At the same time, there were a lot of controversies regarding the game, and hopefully the delaying of game has also cooled down those controversies. So let's talk about these controversies. What are we going to expect in this new upcoming Assassin's Creed game? So far it looks like the game is going to be a flop, and the reviews are already a bit negative, but let's see what's going to be next. But in this video we are all going to talk about all we know so far and what's going to be coming next. So first we'll talk about the criticism that the game has been receiving lately. Now there are a lot of comments. Let me tell you about some of the comments that people have been telling about the game. So one comment says, looks like a cheap copy of Ghost of Tsushima. Another one says, oh my god, it looks like mobile ads game, it makes me yuck. Similarly, there are some other comments that were posted on YouTube right below the gameplay story trailer of Assassin's Creed Shadows. And here's one saying, so the Black Samurai has a better and expensive armor than the Shogun's. So this is about the feudal Japan, where the Shogun was supposed to be the great lord, and the samurai or vassal was the one who was a bit of lower rank, and he used to serve the Shogun. So this is something that is going against the historical point of view of the Japanese culture. And similarly, we have another comment saying Koreans and Chinese are defending Japanese culture and the Japanese people. I've never seen that before ever. Thank you Ubisoft for uniting East Asia. I hope Ubisoft devs take that one as a compliment. And another one saying, the last Ubisoft game before the studio is sold. That looks like a solid comment. And another one is saying, you left the comments on truly stunning and brave, which looks like a highly negative comment that shows a great amount of hatred towards the upcoming game. Now, there are some other comments as well. Someone has said, this game could save or end Ubisoft. And not only that, there are also some of the other things that are portraying a negative impact of the game. We will be discussing that as well. But so far we will talk about the mistakes Ubisoft has been making for a while. The first one includes the historical inaccuracy that we have seen in the game, as people are saying that the character of Yasuke is not up to the mark. So the biggest problem with Yasuke was that they added a black samurai while there were a lot of options. They could have preferred a Japanese character in the Japanese culture, but they, instead of doing it, they kept a female protagonist who seems Japanese, and at the same time they took a character named Yasuke, who is from Mozambique. And so far what I know about Yasuke's story is that historically he was some sort of Mozambican, and he traveled to India, and from there he was sold as a slave to some Japanese samurai, and he trained under that samurai. So he wasn't in fact a proper samurai, he was a second in command of a samurai, and then he later on progressed. And there are also historical statues of the character named Yasuke. But we don't know if the story that is going to be in the game is going to be historically accurate or not. If the character's historical accuracy is inauthentic, then we can expect the same about the game. Next question is about the addition of Yasuke. Was that really necessary or not? I would say it wasn't necessary. We have already seen that there are a lot of problems when that happens. That sometimes when there is dual protagonist in a game, it causes a great messy situation where the character doesn't get the space of the whole developmental process that we have seen in the previous game. For a character to be successful, we have to see its development. We saw that in the Altair story, we saw that in the Ezio story, we also saw that in Edward's story, and also in Bayek's story, in Cassandra Alexia's story. We also saw that very well in Arnold's story as well. But when it comes to the thing like dual protagonist stuff, something we have also seen in the Syndicate, we didn't know much the background history of the Fry twins. We don't know how Jacob and Evie spent on their childhood, and how they became the part of the Assassin's Orders. We don't know much about that. That same is what I'm thinking that is going to be a big problem in this game, is that it will be really hard to cover both characters simultaneously, and that is going to be a big problem for Ubisoft. So apart from that, the other thing is the samurai and warrior nature of Yasuke, which doesn't fit well in the Assassin's Creed gameplay style. A few years ago, I made a video on Assassin's Creed Valhalla that was a reaction on the trailer, and I said the same thing, that this is a very great game, but it is not a good Assassin's Creed game. And when I played it, and I realized that yeah, what I said was totally true. I played Valhalla and it felt like I was playing some sort of God of War or some other RPG game, and it didn't really have that much of the stealthy element that we were experiencing in the previous Assassin's Creed games. Even Odyssey had better elements of stealth as compared to Valhalla, and then in Mirage we got much of the things very well covered, apart from the fact that character of Basim felt a bit weak. And there were those link up with the people of First Civilization like Loki that created a bit of a different situation, although it was acceptable as there were a lot of things that Ubisoft actually did for the fans and acted according to the demands of Assassin's Creed fan base, including the textures that looked really great, and the old Parker that looked really great. It was much like Revelation, and there was also a filter that felt nostalgic, just like we were playing the first game of the series. And another bad thing that they have been doing now is repetition and copying. So what they did now is that a lot of people are saying that this is like a cheap copy of Ghost of Tsushima. As you've already seen in the comment, one of the comments said that it looks like a cheap copy of Ghost of Tsushima. Well, I haven't played Ghost of Tsushima yet, but I did see its gameplay, and yeah, it was one of its own kind. It did have the touch of Assassin's Creed, but Assassin's Creed shouldn't be really insecure about its dignity, and that is something that I'm really surprised at. Instead of focusing on some other timeline, while you know that the Japan timeline is now occupied by the Ghost of Tsushima franchise, so you could better focus on something else. And at the same time, there were some other past mistakes that Ubisoft has been doing. For example, they are repeating those RPG elements, like the level up system of the player and the weapons is back again in the game, as from what I have seen in the gameplay leaks. And similarly, there is another big issue that a lot of people are already reporting, is that there is poor lip sync, and there are also very loss of details in the facial expressions and the textures as well. Probably they totally got dependent on the AI-based structural system, which is not something we could expect from such an advanced and modern age game. And all these things have created a very negative impact already. But let's see how Ubisoft is going to counter these things. Are there going to be update patches that will be fixing these things? But I don't think that Ubisoft can really cover that much. So, is there still a chance that this game is going to be a success? Well, only time will tell. But I just want to say one thing, that now Ubisoft should really reconsider about their decisions, and I would again be giving suggestions similarly as I gave about 4.5 years ago in my gameplay trailer video. So now I would suggest that it is time you should get back to the roots. You should bring back the old Parker and the stealth system, and you should only focus on it without getting towards the RPG system again, as we fans have already had enough of it. We don't want that anymore. And the second thing is, it is an option, and it can be a great option, that Ubisoft should move towards remakes, just like Capcom did, and they got a great response, and they also created some really great games like the Resident Evil 2, 3 and 4 remakes. They were totally up to the mark and were highly appreciated by the fans. So Ubisoft can also do that. They can make a separate game on Altair's story or the Ezio story once again, and it could be detailed if they want a longer gameplay and more elements, so they can make a whole game on both these characters, and they also have the opportunity that they can focus on the present timeline, as we all know that Basim is now in the current time. He is now leading the Assassin's Order, so Ubisoft can also work on this option as well. And another thing that they should do is to avoid doing this repetition, that they keep on like playing gameplay style and then they keep on carrying on and keep on experimenting in multiple games, while you should be bringing new stuff and new innovations. But that is not what you're doing. You are dooming the franchises, and that is one of the reasons you doomed Watch Dogs, you doomed the Far Cry series, and you doomed the Prince of Persia series as well. That you brought the repetition and the fans got bored because they already knew that there's not going to be anything new, and at the same time you are also running out of story ideas and you're running out of gameplay ideas. So all these things have to be considered. I hope you guys have enjoyed watching this video. Make sure to let me know in the comment section what are your thoughts regarding the upcoming Assassin's Creed Shadows. And if you like this video, then press the subscribe button. Also like this video, share it with your friends. Dr. Drizzle out.